to think about spinal extensors and against proximal joint extensors generally when we see a cerebellar pattern. Now, the reason I really want to get into this before we go into day 2 is we want to start using some of the equipment that we've given you. All right, so if you guys will, in your bags, pull out your really, really cool camo. Everyone's got to, you've got to love the camo. You have to love it. So, for many years, you guys know, obviously, I talk a lot about using ropes and straps and other things for training. And Zachariah and I have probably gone through 50 different versions of straps over the last 10 years, trying to find stuff that's actually easy to hold on to, that's strong enough to do good isometric work. So a few months ago, he found these. They're called forearm forklifts. They're actually for moving large bits of furniture. Some of you may have actually done this. Now, the nice thing about these straps is you have loops at different distances, and at the top of all the loops, you actually have this nice soft Velcro, or not Velcro, velour or whatever, velour. What is velour? I don't even know what that is. I just know it's a word. It's like soft fabric. You got like fox fur in here or something. Anyway, these are really, really nice as opposed to like a standard luggage strap because you can put a lot of force into it without it cutting into your skin, and it's also nice and wide. What most of you will figure out is if you have anchor points that you have obviously in your studio, using the strap allows you to set someone up to do ACM work so that they can be working very, very hard or as hard as they want against the strap, which allows you to just keep your hands free to do all the palpation. Does everyone understand? Okay. So I'm going to demo this really simply with, I need 2 people up here because since we're not going to have you guys anchoring all over the facility, we're going to work in groups of 3. One person's going to be the anchor for the strap while the other coach is doing the ACM work, all right? So I need 2 people up here. You guys can come up. Come on, Lucas, come on. All right.
Nobody wants to join me?
And obviously, like I said, we're going to do cerebellar work. So are you going to be our athlete? Or are you going to be you're the athlete?
I'll make a better anchor.
I have no idea how many times I've heard that in a relationship. You're my anchor. I'm not sure if that's good. All right, so how would we know that we want to work on the cerebellum?
Gait assessment.
Gait assessments, what else? Muscle testing, what else? Cerebellar test, right? So everyone's been in structure. You know we have tons of different ways to look at the cerebellum. So let's just do some quick cerebellar tests on you.
Okay.
Yeah, let's start out here. All right, go ahead and get into a Romberg stance here. When you're ready, just go ahead and give us our little flipper test. Okay. How's she doing? Right side's giving up a little bit. How you doing? Bend your elbows. Okay, go ahead and stop. So we're going to work on her right side cerebellum. Does that sound good to everybody? Okay. This was your shoulder issue. How's the shoulder doing?
When I try to follow a target,
Yeah,
good.
it's better. Okay.
Better.
I just remember this from a previous course. She did really well with some like perturbed cerebellar work, and then
we also did the occlusion
work.
and that
Good.
helped.
Okay, good. So you're going to be her coach. So can you actually do? Let's test lat and let's do posterior delta on this side. Okay.
Straight up. Internal rotation. Good. Towards your back pocket. Oh, hold on.
Well, I get to finish it.
A little excited. Ready. Go. Kind of weak.
Kind of weak lat.
Elbow wants to flex. Alright, push back. Very good. Good. Posterior delt's good.
Posterior delta is good. Okay. Well, I pulled up posterior delta, so we're going to do that anyway. All right. So again, whenever we're doing ACMs, what is our primary job? We have to identify our stretch position, first attachment, then the stretch position, and then the contraction position. So if you guys want to follow along, it's page 97 in your manuals. Oops, no. 7. All right, so for posterior deltoid, where are we thinking about in terms of our attachment points? Spine of the scapula, right? So again, as you guys will look into your anatomy books now, they're actually changing the names of all these. They no longer call them posterior, middle, anterior deltoid. They're actually changing them to spinal attachment, clavicular attachment. They're making it a little more complicated, but they're naming it after what it attaches to. So, sorry. So we're going to be on the spine of the scapula for one attachment point. Where is the secondary attachment point? It's the deltoid tuberosity, right? So usually this is fairly easy. You have the athlete abduct the arm, figure out where the deltoids come down. Okay, so here's the deltoid tuberosity. For the posterior portion, we're going to be posterior here on the superior portion of the humerus. All right, everyone okay with that? So he's going to palpate. Now, what is our full stretch position? All right, so normally I start off with the arm in neutral. So as much as it doesn't seem like it, we are going to get some flexion of the humerus, some arm flexion, even with posterior deltoid. So we're going to start off with some slight flexion, adduction. Okay. Now, internally rotate, and then try to bring the arm again across the midline of the body a little bit more. So as you're sitting in your chair, you guys can do this. Okay. Flex the arm, internally rotate the arm, and then just horizontally adduct. Most of you will actually be able to feel a pretty good stretch in the posterior delt. Yes or no? Okay. So go ahead and relax down. So that's going to be the stretch position. If that's the stretch position, what is the ACM position?
Extension.
So we're going to extend the arm, not the elbow, extend the arm. What else do we have to do? We have to abduct, we have to externally rotate. Does that make sense to everybody? And then basically it's additional horizontal extension. Okay, so this is the great position. Does that make sense? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, are you contracting a little bit?
There's some tone there. You feel it?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, very simply, if I was setting this up to do this work at the office, I don't want to have to necessarily have her try to create the contraction against no resistance. Does it make sense to everybody? So, I'm going to give her my little strap. And why might I choose a strap as opposed to a band? Yeah, remember if I add the band, now it's got that little oscillatory component to it. Very often with ACMs at these extreme ranges, if I'm trying to solve a problem, that additional oscillation can be problematic. It may be therapeutic, but it can be problematic, particularly at these in ranges. So I'm going to put this, he already did it, up on the forearm. So I'm going to give just a little bit of pressure. You go ahead and set her up.
Okay. Let's come back.
All right, whenever you are ready to contract, I'm actually just going, there you go.
Okay.
Good. Does that feel okay?
Yeah.
All right. Good.
So you just try to give it nice steady pressure into that. He's going to now be palpating.
Bring these 2 points together. Good. A little bit of external rotation if you can.
There we go.
Good.
And he's done this enough, he's actually doing exactly what I want, which he's giving a cue, he's palpating, he's saying, I'm not feeling this, so he gives her another motor command. Give me a little more external rotation. Pull a little more. Okay, it's giving up. Relax. All right. Okay, so very, very simple. You can retest a lap.
Good. External rotation.
Not
Come on, Mom.
That's fine.
Make me look bad, Mom. Way better.
Yeah, that's a lot better. Okay.
And we did this outside earlier too in the lab.
Yeah,
That's the best so far.
that's the best so far. All right, let's go back to your cerebellar test. Yeah, whenever you're ready. Yeah.
Woohoo!
Okay.
Woohoo! No fluffing fish.
Definitely look cleaner to me. So again, we're interested in all of our basics. Does she fatigue quickly? Does she lose motor control, coordination? But does this make sense? All right. Like I said, whenever I'm working on contraction with people, I don't like to have to be providing them the resistance while also palpating them. Eventually, if you get really good with ACMs, you should be able to create a lot of tension on your own without having anything there. but the vast majority of our world is not about creating pressure in a vacuum. Does that make sense? We are trained, and neurologically we're wired to go, okay, I need to push against something, as opposed to just create a contraction in a vacuum. So this is a great way for most of your clients to start to regain some of these maps. Yeah.
So giving
Thank
her
you, guys.
resistance sort of limited her full range.
Mhm.
Is that what you want? So that
Not necessarily. The only reason I limited her range is I know she's had some shoulder issues. If they have had pain in a given area, I often will not take them to a completely full range to start. This would be in that more mid-range intensity. Remember we said about 50 to 60% intensity is probably best for pain relief. One way to keep them at that 50 to 60% intensity is to not let them get to full range. But once this is set up, it's awesome because I don't even have to do anything. She can just walk forward and walk back, so she can adjust her own intensity without me really being involved in it. All right? So, having seen that, can you guys all now maybe envision different ways to start to use this? So if I were giving someone, let's say we're working in a lab, can I actually borrow you? So again, what are the steps for lat contraction? Internal rotation, shoulder extension, shoulder adduction, scapular depression, anterior pelvic tilt, ipsilateral lateral pelvic tilt, ipsilateral spinal lateral flexion, ipsilateral spinal rotation. Everything comes together. Can I load that with a belt? Okay,
Yes.
here's usually what I would do. Let's say we're going to work on his right side. So let's go ahead and get you in position, just a, kind of a good neutral stance. Actually, what I'm going to have you do, put your hand in there. Actually, put it here, like grab it with your thumb. All right. So now, lock your elbow. All right. Internally rotate for me. Depress your scapula. Okay, depress your scapula. Good. Go into shoulder extension. Go into shoulder adduction. All right. So you guys see what I have here? So I'm basically now on a, 60 or so degree angle up. He's having to depress the scapula into it, adduct against the resistance. I can give it a little bit of, so I can start to shift based. How's it feeling?
Working hard.
So, like I said, you need to have worked through these enough to know where to set your bands or whatever. But like I said, I love this because I can actually choose based off the athlete where I want to give them the most resistance. If I notice that they're really bad with scapular depression, what I'm going to emphasize in the lat is a scapular depression. If they're very poor with adduction, where am I going to shift the band to? Probably to the forearm. I'm going to be pulling them laterally, so now they're having to adduct more here. Everyone okay with that?
Yeah.
If they are very poor controlling the pelvis, maybe I throw a band on that side. Okay, so I have, again, multiple ways that I can start to use any of these tools to emphasize different portions of these more complex movements. So what we're going to do is a groups of 3. I want you to do posterior deltoid and lat. All right, posterior deltoid and lat. And I want you to try to do it with the band, all right, or the strap. This, again, will simplify your life tremendously because it will get you out of the struggle of trying to create resistance. And much more importantly, this will solve the problem for your client knowing how to generate force. I have taught ACM work to probably, my guess would be literally in my career, probably over 10,000 people, hands-on. Probably 9,000 of them, when you get into something like the lat, they really have no idea how to even make the contraction happen. So invariably, I wind up having to give some kind of additional force for them to go, oh, there it is. This will save you a ton of time and allow you to actually do the palpation that you want to do. Cool? All right, go for it. We're going to be using these a lot through the weekend, okay?